It is an incredible experience to be here with just Jews all over the world on every continent. And I thank you, Jody, for putting it together. I know it wasn't easy, but here we are united together in this time. And we're going to speak about peace and shalom bayis and peace in the home. So let's ask ourselves this question. How do you keep a home intact when you feel as if everything around you is falling apart? How do you appreciate time together and desire time together when all you have really is time together? How do you appreciate that? A mother told me that the level of tension in her home was getting a little bit hot. And she was sitting across the table from her husband. They weren't talking to each other. Her 10-year-old son looked at her, looked at her husband, looked at her, looked at her husband again, and then just picked up his hands and he said, "Mommy, Daddy, can't you just be nice to each other? Can't you just be nice?" Shalom bayis, peace in the home, is one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves, that we can give our families, that we can give our children. Whoever you are with right now, whoever is in your life right now, we need to connect better and we need to stay strong. To be healthy, and here's where Jewish wisdom comes in, is to be bari. But bari does not only mean to be healthy that we don't have COVID. Bari means to borei, to create connections between ourselves and the people in our lives. That's how we're healthy, to create strong connections. Shalom bayis, peace in the home, is not just that we're not fighting and we're not squabbling, we're not having bad words with each other. Do you know what shalom bayis is? Shalom bayis is peace. Shalom bayis is harmony. It means that my left hand and my right hand never get angry at each other. That would be ridiculous. Why? Because we're all part of one body. Husband and wife, family, we can't get angry at each other. We have harmony. We're united. We have the same goal. But we are going under a lot of stress right now. There's all kinds of emotions going on in our lives, in our homes, in our hearts, and in our minds. There's anxiety, there's worry, there's fear, there's boredom, there's sadness, there's even grieving, where we grieve for things that we've lost, meaning opportunities and milestones, life cycle events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, weddings. Like, what do we do? What do we do? Where do we go from here? So we have to recognize that, yes, we are living in very stressful times, but here's the question. I should lose my shalom bayis too? I should lose my peace too? That is what is going to keep me grounded. That is what is going to keep our family grounded. One day when this chapter is over, and it will be soon with God's help, we're going to look back at this time and we're going to have a story to tell ourselves, our children, our children's children. And we're going to say, you know, we went through this crazy time, this difficult time, this pandemic, this magefa. And this is what happened. This is what happened to our family. This is what happened to me. This is what happened to us. How are you going to fill in the blank? I'd like to fill it in by saying, we grew and I grew, stronger, not weaker, greater, not smaller, better, not bitter. How do we do that? Somebody said to me the other day, I don't know, I don't remember where Corona is mentioned in my Kesuba. So that got me thinking. The key really is in the Kesuba. And as my mother, Rebbetzin Esther Jungreis, always told me, Hafochba v'hafochba dukulaba. Turn the pages, turn the pages. Everything is in the Torah. Everything's in the Torah. You just have to know where to look. So today, we're going to discover the 3 keys from the Kesuba, the 3 keys of communication that is going to help us keep our shalom bayis, our peace, our harmony, our unity alive. In our Kesuba, we speak about one couple in our Sheva Brachot, in our 7 blessings. And who is that couple? We speak about Adam v'Chava, Adam and Eve, Began Eden, in the Garden of Eden. And the question is, why them? I mean, if you and I had to pick one couple that we'd like to be like, would it be Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, who went through so much angst They actually got thrown out of the Garden of Eden. I mean, I would think we would pick Abraham and Sarah, the first Jewish couple who ever lived. Or maybe we would pick Yaakov and Rachel, Jacob and Rachel. What a love story. Rabbi Akiva and Rachel. I mean, why this couple? Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, they went through so much. So listen carefully, because in the next few moments, we're going to discover the key from Adam and Eve, from Adam and Chava. And the first key that we have when it comes to communication is to communicate every single day. Number one, communicate care. You see, we speak about Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, under the chuppah, because this couple went through so much, but guess what? They had to make it. You know why? They had no choice. There was nobody else. When they looked out at the planet, at the world, they couldn't say, well, this one looks better, that one looks better, maybe I should try something else. No, we have to make it work because we're all we've got. And when it comes to marriage, when it comes to shalom bayis, when it comes to harmony and peace, when it comes to stressful times like right now, we have to show each other, I care about you. I want to show you that there is no one else in the world for me. How do I communicate that? How can I show that I care about you, that I care about what you are going through, what you're feeling, and that I care about being with you? How can I show you that? So if each day we take a moment and we're not on the phone when we speak with each other, I'm not looking down at a screen, but I'm using my eyes and I'm using my body language to look at you, to hear you, to not be concerned about everything else, but to take a few moments and say, how are you feeling? How did you sleep last night? What's going on with you? I see you're a little bit tired. You're a little bit stressed. What can I do to make this better for you? Even if you just come over and you bring over a cup of coffee, a tea, a cappuccino, a good word, anything to show that I care. I care about you and I care what you're going through. Use your creativity. You know, a lot of couples are telling me that there's no privacy anymore. What can you do for that? Well, maybe you can't drive far and maybe you can't go far. Maybe you're under quarantine, but you can say tonight, we're going to have an adult only, mommy and daddy only time in the kitchen, and you transform your kitchen into a cafe, your porch into this beautiful place under the stars, and you have a picnic. Whatever it is that it takes for you to transform your place, your space, your time to show, I care enough about you. I want to show you that I care. That's what's important right now, to communicate that. And when you do have time together, don't only speak about stress and pressure and problems. Speak about good memories that you have. Speak about visions and hopes and dreams. Speak about where you want to go in this world. What is waiting for us ahead? Not problems, but great things, great things. So that's the first key. Communicate care. Number two, we learn from Adam and Chava, from Adam and Eve, communicate compassion, kindness. And where do we learn that from? You see, when Adam and Chava were sent out of Gan Eden, when they were sent out of the Garden of Eden, Hashem, it says in the pasuk, it says in the verse that God actually clothed them with clothing, with beged or, clothing of skin. Vayal bishem, it says, and God dressed them. But beged or is not just clothing of skin and leather. Do you know what it is? Or is also light. What happened? Hashem saw that they went through such a difficult time. And God could have said, Hashem could have said, you know what? You're on your own. Just go. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see you. Just figure it out yourself. But Hashem is teaching us such an incredible lesson. Olam chesed yibaneh. The world, your private world is built through chesed, through kindness. Whoever you are with right now, whoever you are in your life with right now, it's only going to work. We're only going to get through this if there is chesed, if there's kindness. Hashem, God, looked at the need of Adam and Chava, and instead of just ignoring, Hashem said, You need clothing. You need chesed. You need light. When you are in darkness, you have a choice. You can either sit in the darkness and you can become so angry. You can reach yeyush. You can get into depression. You can fall. Or you can say, you know what? I am going to light a candle and I am going to illuminate darkness with my light. That is compassion. That is kindness. So, what I would like us all to think about is this: how can I show compassion to my husband, to my wife, to my family? It's not about me right now. It's about unity and harmony. It's more than care. It's stretching out of myself to come to a place of concern and compassion and sensitivity where I say, you know what? Stop judging and start loving. I'll say that again. Stop judging and start loving. What can I do today, every day, that shows that I have chesed, that shows that I have compassion? It means not leaving things around because I know my husband, my wife is just stretched right now. So what can I do to help? Can I put something away? Can I say, I'm going to do this for you because I see that you are under pressure right now? I want to do this because I love you. The word ahava in Jewish wisdom comes from the word have. The root is have, which means to give. The more that I give, the more that I love. It's not about getting, but the more that I invest in you, in our relationship, in our marriage, the more I'm going to love. But it's not just little things that I can give. It's my time that I can give. And it's also my attitude that I can give. You know, under the chuppah, we say that we should always have, and here again, the voice in Yerushalayim, kol chatan v'kol kala, the voice of the bride and the bridegroom. What is that voice? It's the voice of the newlywed. What's the voice of the newlywed? It's that sweet voice where we say, honey, what can I do for you? Sure, that's okay. It's fine, sweetie. When I first got married, my husband's from Brazil. So as newlyweds, we moved down to Sao Paulo, Brazil. We were married, I think maybe 2-3 weeks, and we went on a Sunday for a drive to the countryside. We spent the day there, and on the way back, I see that my husband was a little bit silent, and I was wondering why. And he said to me, I'm really sorry. I didn't think this would happen, but I don't know how to tell you this. We're going to be running out of gas. Not only did we run out of gas, but a torrential tropical rainstorm came down that just the heavens opened up, that I've never seen such rain in my life. Now, being that I was a newlywed, I had that kol kala, the voice of the kala, where I was able to say, oh, that's okay, honey. I'm sure you're going to figure it out. Don't worry about it. How long does that voice stay? I wonder sometimes to myself, what would my reaction be if it would be a year, 2 years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road? When do we lose that voice? Our challenge now is, while we are under this stress, to harness that voice again. We had it, the voice of the bride, the voice of the bridegroom, kol chaton, the kol kala, to have that sweetness, that gentleness, that kindness, that compassion, that empathy again. You know, a rabbi emailed me before this program and he said, can you please ask the women to have extra compassion on their husbands, because the men are so worried right now and they're so stressed out right now. So I ask all of us, husbands and wives, put yourself in your husband's shoe right now. Put yourselves in your wife's shoes right now. Put yourselves in your children's shoes right now. Before you say something snarky, before you roll your eyes, before you snap, before you say something judgmental like, you're impossible, I can't believe you did this, what's your problem? Take a second and breathe and think, what is my husband going through right now? What does it feel like to be so frightened about parnasa, about financial security, about the world, when he wants so badly to provide for us? And there's so much unknown going on. Put yourself in your wife's shoes right now. What does it feel to have to homeschool, to keep it together, to have a smile on your face, to just try so hard to be a mother, to be a wife, to be a woman right now, to keep a home filled with light, to have your Shabbos candles lit from one week to another, which means that there's simcha, that there's joy, when inside you're worried, you're stressed, you don't know what will be, what will be. What does it feel like for a child right now? I mean, we've never gone through anything like this in our whole lives. So have compassion, hold back, stop judging, start loving. Do you know where you start? When I've been giving my Zoom classes now, I've been saying this over and over again. And it sounds like such a little thing, but it's huge. When you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and ask yourself, would I want to wake up to this face? Because if not, then I know where to start. To just give a smile to the people that I'm with, to just give a call to somebody that I know is lonely. That's shalom, that's peace, that's harmony. And you know, I've relayed this, that when my mother was a little girl, just a little girl, and she was taken to Bergen-Belsen, the first day that she arrived there, my Zaidi turned to my mother and said, Lichte Kind, my precious light, here you have a große Avoda, here you have a tremendous job, you have such a tremendous mission. My mother, just a little girl, she looked up at her father and she said, Tati, here in Bergen-Belsen, what can I do here? I'm just a little girl and it's Bergen-Belsen. My Zaidi looked at my mother and said, here you can give a shmeichel. Here you can give a smile, because when you smile, you give hope. Now, if my mother, just a little girl, could give a smile every day in Bergen-Belsen, can't we each give a smile today in our own homes to the people that we love? That's shalom bayis. That's peace in the home. I care about you. I'm compassionate, even if it means just a smile. And finally, the last C that we speak about is to communicate comfort, to communicate calm and courage. This we also get from Adam and Chava, from Adam and Eve in Gan Eden, in the Garden of Eden. One Shabbos, when it was the parsha, when it was the portion of Bereshis, when we read about Adam and Eve, Adam and Chava in Gan Eden, I was telling my children the story when they were younger. And at the end of the story of Adam and Chava, I described how they made this terrible mistake. And Hashem said, out. You need to leave Gan Eden. You need to leave this Garden of Eden now. There's just nothing left. You have to leave. And my son turned to me. He looked at me and he said, Mommy, what happened then? Did they get divorced? And I smiled at my son. He was just 6 years old. And I said to him, Eli, we don't just give up. We don't just get divorced if things go wrong. No, Adam turned to Chava, Adam turned to Eve. And you know what he said? The Torah tells us how he turned to his Isha, to the woman who had no name till now. And he said, now I will call your name, Vatikra. And he called the name of the Isha, of the woman, Chava. He said to her, you are my Chavala. Why Chava? Because Ein Kol Chai, you are the mother of all living things. We are going to start life together again. We are not going to give up. Of course we're going to make it through this. Of course we're going to be strong. Of course we're going to be resilient. We're going to bring life into this world. We can't just give up. That was their black hole moment. And instead of falling into a black hole, instead of Adam looking at Chava and saying, how could you have been so stupid? We had everything. We had the Garden of Eden, and because of you, we lost everything. What's your problem? What were you thinking? No, Adam turned to his wife, to this woman of his, and he said, Chavala, you're my Chavala. Of course we're going to start life again. It's going to be good. So we must turn to one another and we must say, of course, we're going to start life again. It's going to be good to give comfort, to give calm, to give courage to one another, to have resilience. Shalom bayis is not just harmony between a husband and wife, between family and the home, but listen carefully. And with this, we're going to close and we're going to get to questions. Shalom bayis means peace in the home. You see, my body, my guf, is the home for my neshama, for my soul. To find harmony between my body and soul means that all the anxiety that I'm feeling, all the worry that I'm feeling, the panic, the fear, the pachad, how can I find that peace, that menuchas hanefesh, that serenity that is inside, that I don't have that feeling that I can't breathe? How do I have that peace when the world around me feels as if it's falling apart? What do I do now? When somebody goes through grief or sadness or fear, how do we find shalom? How do we find peace? Listen carefully. When you feel as if you're in a dark hole, you call upon your legacy. You call upon your story, the stories of your people, of your family. Look at me. Look at me now, because I shouldn't be here. My mother, my father, my grandparents went through the fires of the Holocaust. I was born upon the ashes of Bergen-Belsen, and here I am. We have gone through suffering. We have gone through persecution. We have gone through galut. We have been exiled through the four corners of this world. We have gone through crematorias, gas chambers, inquisitions, terrorist attacks in Eretz Yisrael. Of course, we're going to make it through Corona. Of course, we're going to make it through. Is it hard at times? Is it difficult? Of course. But we are a nation of nisim. We are a nation of miracles. So I'd like to end with this. In my black hole moment, when I was alone with my father, because my father was very ill and he was about to leave this world, I had a moment where it was just my father and myself in the hospital. And at that moment, my father said to me, bring me a chumash, bring me my Torah, my chumash that is in my room. And I want you to read about when Yaakov Avinu, when our father Jacob was leaving this world. So I started to read. When Yaakov Avinu, when Jacob became ill, and he called his son Joseph, to be with him. I started to cry and I said, Abba, I can't read this. And my father said to me, if Abba says to read, Shefala, my dear, then read. And so I started to read about when Yaakov Avinu was sick, and he said to his son Yosef that I never thought I would see you again. I had given up hope. And here you are with children. I'm going to leave you with a bracha. I'm going to leave you with a blessing. Hamalach hagol osi mikol ra. The angel that watched over me from all evil and from all bad. Yivarech es hanarim. He will watch your children and your children's children forever. My father turned to me and he said, Slava Chanala, I know that I'm going to be leaving this world. I don't know if it will be tonight, tomorrow, next week. But I was thinking, what can I possibly leave you with? I'm going to leave you with my bracha, with my blessing. I was walking through the valley of the shadow of death, Begate Salmaves. I never thought I'd see life again. I lost my parents, my brothers, my sisters, my entire family. My world was dark. And then I met your Ima. I met Mama and Zayda, my mother's parents. I started life again, and we had children. Never give up, and always know that life will come. You have malachim, you have angels that are with you. I want us to remember our story, to know that this is the story of Am Yisrael. We have a legacy. We don't have to be afraid. So I ask that we tune in to our story, that we know where we've come from, that we are the children of Hashem, that we are one, that we forgive each other, we come together and we say, as the children of Yaakov said to him all together, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God. Hashem is the only one. We will make it through and we will have shalom. Absolutely. I'm going to give the bracha that Yaakov Avinu gave before he left this world. The bracha that my father gave to me. Hamalach hagol osi mikol ra, yivarech es narim. That the malachim, the angels of mercy, should be with us, should protect us, to give us courage. Every time I left the house, my Zaidi, my parents, my Bubby would say, Ki malachav yitzavelach lishmorcha bechol derechecha. The malachim should be commended to be with you on all of your paths. Hashem yishmar seischa uvoecha me'ata v'ad olam. Every time that we leave our home, and today we need a lot of bracha when we leave our home, uvoecha, and every time that we come back into our homes, we should find bracha, we should find blessing. Hashem should be with you, with all of us, and I thank you so much for listening.